there that we don't have is using time efficiently to create sales being your number one priority.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, so first of all, to me there's a math formula for sales. Pretty simple. So with different people in the room, different experience, different size books, different networks, it's all going to be a little bit of a different factor for each of you. But your sales quota, your sales goal, and I mean your sales goal, not the company's sales goal for you, I'm talking about yours, right, equals your existing accounts, right? Could be renewals, right? But it's the accounts that you currently have, opportunities to cross-sell or upsell, right? But it's your existing accounts. Now, some of you don't have any, some of you have a lot, right? Plus leads generated by the company, right? How many leads over a given year are you going to get from the company? Plus, how many leads do you need to generate? And those also could be dollars in each category, right? So a simple math formula, your sales goals equal the amount of business you can get from your existing accounts, what kind of leads are you going to get from the company, and how much you have to self-generate. Not hard, right? Not hard. And so based on who you are, what your goals are, where you are in your career, if you have more need on self-generation, you better put some time on your calendar. So here's a question for you. How many of you have time on your calendar to prospect? I've got one, I've got two, three, quite a bit. What does that look like? What does your current prospecting plan look like? What is it? What do you do?
Can I ask a question?
Of course.
How many of you have time on your calendars and it's complete bullshit?
Okay, different question. How many of you actually prospect when your calendar says prospect?
Yeah, raise your hand.
I still have a blocked out time every Thursday. That is bullshit.
Yeah, I've done it myself, so that's why.
Who wrote the book Start With Why? It was Simon Sinek, right? Okay, I realized that as I asked the question. Simon Sinek, there's an old video of his out there, and he says this. He said, do a little bit of activity all the time versus a lot of activity some of the time. And to me, prospecting is like exercising for your body. If you're not in the gym, or if you're not out on the streets, or if you're not doing some type of physical exercise 2 or 3, 4 times a week, you're not healthy. Now, I don't know about any of you, but I lost my #1 client at the end of last year. It's not fun. It's the 3rd time it's happened in my career. I did nothing wrong. Right? They ran into a major cash crunch, and frankly, they cut a whole division out of their company. Did everything they could to keep me, even at a reduced rate. They just said, "Listen, we just have to cut costs. We have to protect the margin." I get it. Right? But here's the rule. Every day you have a client, you're 1 day closer to losing them. Does anybody else ever have that happen? Right? If you've got a full pipeline behind you, what do? You roll with it. Right? But at the time when that client goes away, all of a sudden what I want to make sure that you are is you're not desperate, because if you're desperate, you're in trouble. We have to prospect like we don't need the money. We have to prospect like we don't need the business. Now for those start out, young people, that's tough. Right? Because if you want it, you're gonna smell and they're gonna pick up on it. Right? So prospecting. Nick Murray is a well-known author. He's in the financial planning space. He does a lot of things really well. He wrote a book called The Game of Numbers a long time ago. And he said, do 1 every day for 21 days before you do 2. And then do 2 for 21 days until you can do 3. And increase your prospecting cadence by 10% gradually over time. And here's what I've realized. At 50 years old now, when I go to the gym, I hurt. And what that means is if you go into the prospecting gym and you do a lot of activity, you will hurt. And when you hurt, what do?
It's not doing it.
More often than not, you stop doing it. And the reality of it is, folks, we need discipline and we need commitment. Commitment means you're gonna do what you said you're gonna do, regardless of how you feel. And CJ, I think that's part of being on the phone with a prospect. Your job is to disrupt that person, find a compelling reason to do business. Whether they wanna have a conversation or not, you've gotta execute on your sales process. And that's not just for CJ. Fair?